4 did not select. There we go. Tomb of the Spider Queen, selected by LFM. Not surprising to see them go to some of the smaller maps. This is where LFM has been able to stand out. And off the top of my head, I would personally say, without a doubt, if you're going to beat Team 12, take it on those maps where you can get that macro advantage. You know, wave clear it out.
I'm double checking my stats here because I'm like, wait a minute, is this right? Team 12.
Yeah.
The core of this roster, notorious for being great on this battleground. 2-6 Dreadnought. LFM, on the other hand, I'm trying to remember their results from Friday, but coming into this weekend, they were 0-4. It's not like they light it up on this battleground, but again, when it comes to team fighting, when it comes to the likes of Garrosh, Diablo, things like that, that they seem to be running fairly well. This might be the battleground where if you're looking to take a fight, you find a weakness in what Team 12 wants to do. Johanna, good on this battleground, but do you really want to go Johanna again if you're Team 12 after that last game? It's going to be a fun one here.
It stood out for me since the reverse sweep of Gale Force. This was the breaking point, right? This was the map. Since then, and we have not seen a single game out from Team 12 where you look at Tomb and you go, you know, prime Tomb play coming out from them. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to see LFM selected, and I think I like this from them. Even though it's not their best, they're just going, this is your weakest. We got momentum on our side. We're going to get the call out and see if we can take it on a map. And again, as we said, it's not the best for LFM, but I feel like to their playstyle, if you look at their individual strengths, they like those maps. You know, Infernal Shrines, again, one of those ones that can cater to the slow, macro-oriented. It puts more pressure on their 4-man to get a lot of kills and ganks, and that does seem to be a weakness for this unit. But I like it. I like it. Looking at Team 12 and going, hey, this is not going to come easy.
I'm trying to think because, you know, obviously Draded and them, they're trying to put focus on the drafts of Team 12. And if you think about what works for Team 12, is it the Hanzo? Not so much. Greymane's there, but then you look like, where does it lie? Is it Phoenix? Tracer, not exactly the best. We'll see it at times from people on this battleground, but it's not exactly the heroes. And these are heroes that tend to be the go-tos for Team 12. So I really am curious if maybe they're going to continue to try and target that specific play style. I mean, Gul'dan last game on Infernal Shrines, there's no reason you can't go Gul'dan again here. If you want to control the Warriors, again, the Diablo Garrosh, definitely something to consider.
And we've got to be looking at the Warrior selection and priority over the last game. Decision-making, again, volunteering into the Junkrat Johanna. Do we see that still, again, that opting in towards the slower playstyle here for Team 12? It does cater to this map better than the last map of Infernal Shrines, even though it is pretty good on Shrines too. But I would like to see Team 12 bring the fight. Let's be real here. They are a great skirmishing squad. And I feel like that's got to be the place where you can really dismantle a team like LFM, because a lot of people, maybe this isn't as well known, but if you've ever scrimmed at the professional level, it's hands down harder to identify ways to recover from games where your opponent is just slaying within picks within the 4. And it puts yourself in a map like this where the staggered deaths can really snowball and add up and kind of get out of control very, very quickly. Those are the hardest games to be able to recover from, again, because why you're losing so bad, other than just stop feeding, is about the only thing that comes to mind.
For Team 12, again, the damage and where it comes from is always going to be the biggest thing. Draded said it, I'm saying it. Again, frontline, I think, is obviously a concern in terms of where does your balance come from. But also, is it forced? Is it not forced? And that's on the front line, but I think it also depends on what your damage is going to be. Jaina, I think, might show up here for one of these teams.
Yeah.
There's a Malfurion ban, which they're going to play around the Medivh Maiev, and if I'm LFM, I'm banning that Medivh.
What a bold move from Team 12. How much focus do you think they're going to have on Aware's hero pool? Because let's be real here, Aware, he's enjoyed his Malfurion. He's stuck to the Malfurion above all else by miles. Stukov, I think, sits second behind that, and then it gets pretty slim when looking at the sample size for LFM. Might not even be that. Honestly, is his Rhaegar above his Stukov? Because it might be.
Maybe after the other day, but it goes Malfurion, Stukov, Uther, Rhaegar, and Uther, Rhaegar, you say those names as if they're like a distant memory. They don't spring up a whole lot. They have shown themselves. I do wonder, when we have this team, if somebody's going to go Hanzo, this is one of those battlegrounds. I would love a Tassadar. Love a Tassadar. Tassadar does so well on this battleground. Jordan, I think I'm looking at the stats from last night. Tassadar on this battleground is something like 22-7 globally.
I mean, I agree with you. For anybody who might not know why is Tassadar so good? First of all, kill potential within the 4-man matters a lot. Tassadar single-handedly just goes, I'm not a target, somebody else can't be a target. That's going to be a problem as long as your warrior doesn't feed, which normally you can cater to that within the draft. But then you'd be like, well, what else do you need on this map to be able to make up for it? Wave clear, great in that avenue. Amazing in that area. And then because wave clear is so very effective, and because that slow laning playstyle and everything alike is so very long, also you have the opportunity not only to stay within the fights, but more importantly, the vision control that he is able to provide. He can deny both of those turn-ins really easily. From beginning to end, he's a pretty good hero on this battleground. Blaze Stukov rotation for LFM, though that isn't a common, kind of high rotation. I feel like from them right now in this draft, I think it's great. Putting a almost uncounterable offlaner with the counter momentum to deal with Maiev, then also having the Stukov with the silence after the Malfurion ban. I think prioritizing the Stukov is a near must for LFM.
Yeah, getting that bunker down if the Warden's Cage goes down is good, but if you're silenced, it's much more difficult to get that down. So take the Stukov for yourself, make sure there's no follow-up combo synergy. Now for Team 12, the Blaze is taken away from you. You've seen a little bit of Dahaka on this battleground at times. The Leoric, when that Gale Force game happened, was where the turnaround came in. The Leoric wasn't that great. So do you go Sonya? Do you go Thrall? If you're Goku, what's your go-to on this battleground now?
Thrall for Goku, I'm thinking way back. He used to be able to play a pretty serious Thrall. Garrosh is going to be picked up. I wouldn't mind if they end up going to that later. No reason to commit it to it now, and you got to see the rest of the draft there. Garrosh, Hanzo, the rotation here for Team 12. Still a lot of kill potential within the 4. Hanzo going to be able to make up for that wave clear a little bit, but they won't have the Stukov or the Malfurion for the follow-up with the Garrosh Maiev threat. So normally when we see those two together, it's with the triple threat and having that last crowd control. That's the thing that breaks for that kill. I'm not saying it's not possible. Garrosh alone has so much crowd control, he might be able to set up those kills, but it's a little less threatening than what we normally see from teams here on maps like Tomb.
Sonya being hovered, that's one of the ones. So, well, Uther being hovered as well. I really wonder, right? So, if you're going to Uther, if you're trying to ban Uther,
I feel like,
well, it's either Tracer or Jaina to me. I think it's one of those. One of those. You could also still continue to go down that Genji route if you just want to play the flank position, dare somebody to try and get on you. But of course, Garrosh and Hanzo, the threat of the taunt, the threat of the long-range auto attack. But I feel like the Sonya might be better to control that off lane and control the available options for Goku.
Yeah, I really don't like the Uther ban from LFM, and I'm glad that they stepped away from that. Purely based on the fact that they already have the Stukov, and the Malfurion ban was on the side of Team 12, and I can't see anything that they are going to want to pick up that Uther ban is going to be worth it, right? It might slowly remove some of that early game threat, and that's why we're talking about Jainas versus Tracers. Those are both very good in that avenue.
If I'm Team 12, I'm looking at a Tychus ban here. T has played a lot of Tychus. It's been a bit. Tychus kind of fallen off. Tychus has the wave clear, has the anti-siege and the siege potential on Tomb, and does well to rip apart Garrosh.
Not going to lie, not the ban I thought on any front. I was going to say, I think I'd rather ban the Jaina, honestly, against T here. On this type of map, whenever I got the Stukov Blaze, I just don't want you to have equal amount of counter threat to my kill potential within my 4-man, and I can do that by taking away the Jaina. Whereas that Tychus, yeah, it counters my Garrosh. That's post-10. I'm worried about my laning phase, so I would have liked to see that maybe a little bit more from Team 12. Either way, they go completely different route. Mix it up. Taking away the Johanna.
Well, with the Johanna, who's going to be your setup person for the Jaina? Generally, you like to have some type of soft crowd control, whether it's the mini stun, whether it's a slow. Tyrael doesn't necessarily fit that option. Tyrael's kind of like that escape. You might see in a Nubarak maybe at worst.
ETC's a little bit risky.
Yeah, into the Garrosh.
I can tell you this much, J-How, though I do love the approach of the European, flavor of adapting with the Anubarak coming out. This is not the time or the place I want to see the Anub. If we do see the Anub, I want to see a flex and try and wait out that damage deal, just because you need to know what damage is coming in. And Maiev actually deals quite a bit of physical damage. He does do magic damage, but she does do quite a bit of physical. They're not going to commit to it. Instead, going with that Muradin.
Well, that gives you an escape option if you get stuck in there. So
he is legitimately the last option in the world of dealing with Garroshes, I feel like, for me, kind of stand out. But as you said, this is a lot of thought process towards we want to have something for that Jaina to be able to have that crowd control, get that lock-in with it, and still have that gap closer to be able to escape. It just... that pick single-handedly sets the 4-man of LFM a lot farther back, because I've been talking about Jainas and how overvalued they are on their wave clear versus their kill potential over and over again. Who's going to clear the wave? Who's going to help LFM win this wave clear battle? Stukov can't do it. Muradin has absolutely no option. Jaina's going to be that person, but then who's going to get the kill? No one.
You could put Draded on Jaina and just put T back on that Tychus.
You need to.
At this point, I feel like that's the safest and maybe even the best option. Not even just for their team, but for the battleground in general.
Junkrat could be another one.
Yeah, that is very true. That's a good option.
I struggle with Jaina Junkrats together, especially with the Murden being the lock-in. If it was Johanna, maybe, because the synergy is going to be strong enough there within the mage. But that would be purely to get that wave clear necessary, so Jaina can be that lethal threat that you would like to make happen.
We still haven't talked about Phoenix as available. Is that you get your auto attack hero? You get fairly decent. Again, I even think Tychus in this situation, because of the Odin post 10, might still be better.
I think I'd take the Phoenix, to be honest, over that, just because of the Jaina pairing. But that's obviously a brand new one. Like, we're still learning the strength of Phoenix, but off the top of my head, wouldn't mind to see that commitment. They do go the same round. Also provides that wave clear that I'm so concerned about. At least it helps, right? Phoenix is much like, I think, at least from my time, you know, kind of testing out Phoenix so far, has been a hybrid between like Li Ming and maybe Zul. Maybe Zul might be the best example. Amazing wave clear, given the right circumstances. Not so amazing. Decent otherwise, right? Like, yeah, Zul can walk up the wave. He can get a little bit of clear, but you have to be respecting your opponents, right? Phoenix feels like he has to do a little bit the same. He can plasma cutter. Yes, he can splash damage, but in the end, does he one-shot the wave the same way we know, you know, some of the other heroes here at Heroes of the Storm can? Not so much. But it does help make Jaina have less pressure. And I think it's very important that T on Jaina, Blizzards need to be used on at least one target. And if it's used on the minion wave, it needs to be on Garrosh when he's looking for a groundbreaker at the same time, right? Like, get that threat onto Garrosh, make him second guess himself. But there's been a lot of dependency on Jaina. And I know I'm maybe hyper-focusing on this draft specifically, but I think it's going to be another major setback here for them if they're going to struggle.
I do worry when we talk about wave clear, yes, the lightning bond is okay. The lightning shield is okay.
Yeah.
At level 1 to send somebody in there, but Garrosh doesn't have great clear. Hanzo, I almost feel explosive arrow might be necessary here. Maiev, not so much. I kind of wonder if LFM can get a few early turn-ins, the value that they could potentially obtain out of that might be enough. However, if they do want to dive, maybe take a fight around that turn-in, Team 12 definitely has that on their side.
I feel like Aware has a lot to set in this game. The Malfurion ban came out. They're committing to the Stukov against an offensive 4-man, which, again, if anything is going to set apart Team 12, I feel like in the series, it would be with a high kill potential 4-man. They don't have the lethality within their support to get the follow-up triple CC necessary, as we were talking about before, but I do think it should be enough. Aware is going to try and make a play here, but immediately gets punished. They're flipped over the wall. Healing coming out. He will be able to keep himself up, but that cannot happen in the later stages of this game.
Yeah. That's a little bit risky, a little bit scary. Figgy, he's going to be tossed back in. He does have a dwarf toss out. Aware somehow gets a little bit. Scattering arrow just missed the mark. Yeah, T, you slow me, I slow you.
Everybody gets a slow. Nice. Stormbolt, Blizzard going to come out. Justing is first blood of this game. LFM bringing out the fight. There goes the warp. Bud's able to bite back there, though, going to the minion wave. He throws
Blaze needs to come up. Somebody needs to be calling for Blaze.
Blaze! Oh, he was there. Just nice juke from Buds, using that level 1. Oh, my baby. The great escape continues, but comes at a cost.
Yeah, that might be a bit much. Jaina up at the top, though, has Hanzo on top of her. That's got to be, I was going to say, you got to be. Oh, I was like, is he B-stepping? Nah. He's just making sure he gets the wave, gets the gems, then he'll get out.
T ends up surviving. LFM getting their first 2 kills of the game, and surprising statement considering the kill potential. Hold up, though. Do they get the follow-up CC, the flip over? Yeah, there was almost no opportunity to warp out of that one. Stormbolt comes out from Figgy, but it's going to be a bit too late here. So fighting back from Team 12, gaining momentum within the laning phase. And this, out of the 2, if anybody has that burden to make those kind of plays in lane, it's definitely Team 12 with this type of composition. So I feel like the fact that LFM was successful over that first skirmish, you know, as long as they don't let this snowball kind of out of control, don't let those, you know, sneaky turn-ins happen, they still got to be comfortable and feel all right about this game 2. Or excuse me, game 3. I forget, you know, we're sitting at tied 1-1 between these 2.
LFM giving Team 12 a bit more than they probably expected at this point. I mean, if you're LFM, again, you're playing for the Crucible, you're playing to improve, and right now, signs of improvement continue to shine through for this team, despite all the records and everything that we generally see on the surface. But if you've watched their games, if you dig deeper into this team, you will see that there's a lot more than meets the eye on that paper.
Dahaka did not feign this rotation, even though Blaze made his way towards mid. The camp on that night camp for LFM was clear or effectively defended. See what they can make happen here over the mid lane.
Again, the anti-siege dread is not there. I mean, we did get explosive arrow at level 4, which will help with the clear, but when you get into moments like this, it's difficult. Cure obviously on the Maiev looking for a play. Goku coming in as well, lands the drag onto the Phoenix. He's got to warp out before anything like last time happens.
Cure goes in for another tether. A lot of damage there on that front wall taken because of that lack of anti-siege you were talking about from Team 12. And LFM finds themselves another small victory. If they can get a couple of those just back to back to back, this is enough on a map like Sky Temple, or excuse me, 2 Minute Spider Queen to really snowball this game out of control. They just got to keep up that momentum, much like we saw from them in the last game.
A lot of it will come down. You know, it's been dangerously close. When we looked at the Aware in the early part, there was almost twice that he went down there. But the save of his teammates, you can tell that they all know their role, what they're supposed to do. Goku's actually going to get the turn and not able to light that up in time. So sneaking in that little baby turn in. Now we got 44 turned in on the side of Team 12. Only 14 thus far for LFM.
I think he ended up getting flipped there, but he's not under any kind of threat whatsoever. Notice how that Blizzard right there ended up getting that 50-50, half minions, half, you know, hitting the Garrosh. And even though it's not going to gain anything and even that big of a threat, that's exactly the Blizzard I was talking about. Because Garrosh, then when retreating from that, and let's say everybody else forgets that he's the one slowed in that rotation, they leave him alone a little bit too long. That's where you can really make these big plays in the laning situation for LFM. Bud's going to start this channel down below. We'll get it. Web Weaver phase going over to Team 12. It's going to be important that they make something happen. You know, typically the words anti-siege and siege are near synonymous here, J-Hal. Very few heroes are good in one and not good at the other.
It's going to be hard when you look at the likes of a Hanzo and Maiev. It's going to come down to playmaking. If they can get the playmaking in there, obviously Jaina's got to step forward to try and land a Blizzard. You've got Phoenix now. He's got a little bit more range, can poke from a little bit safer, but maybe once they get that laser cutter, he's got to be very careful. It makes him a prime target if he does step forward, but the Web Weavers have landed. Justin and team here looking for an opportunity. There it is.
Great attempt there from Cure. Provide a little bit of threat. Mid Web Weaver already been dealt with there by Phoenix. Just ripped through that thing on its own. Team 12 do cycle through, though, to make sure they get this front wall damage out.
This is the part where sometimes when you and I talk about the turn-in time, it was 4.5 minutes in, level 7, and you didn't quite get a lot. LFM got the entire wall down. If they can somehow get a turn-in here in the next few moments, although Figgy, he's under assault here as the Blizzard goes down in return. Figgy getting pulled left and right by Team 12. But if LFM can survive this and turn in,
yeah, it's a problem. I'm going to add to this and say that it's one of those situations where even though it's Web Weaver phase for Web Weaver phase, you're like, wait a minute, why is this actually so much more for LFM? But it's because LFM's winning without the Web Weaver phase. They have better siege potential, and if they siege up into Team 12 and don't immediately get picked off, they actually get to clump up. It is far more likely we see that level snowball, the 10 spikes, and then double objectives being taken off the table from Team 12 by the hands of LFM. We'll see if they can sneak that turn in. Only one gem remains, so pretty much anyone and everyone has the chance to get that sneaky turn in for LFM.
LFM obviously looking for it, and Team 12 using every tool that they have available for vision to try and keep around those turn-in points. Again, just one is all it takes. There's Figgy with the zone. The scatter arrow, Ware's like, don't worry, T, I'm still going to turn in. Figgy, however, gets tossed in. We're going to get the tether as well. Figgy will gladly walk with that as the cleanse is going to be there. That might have just saved Cure's life, because if there was a follow-up dread, that's a dead Maiev.
No, it single-handedly actually saved it. Great cleanse there. Not often do you see a cleanse onto Jaina's as a justified cleanse, but that would have 100% set LFM swabs up for a great jet propulsion. Would have been one dead Cure.
Curious to see how Goku will respond to this. Will we get an aggressive flank on the Dahaka to maybe come in and thwart this push down the middle lane? Phoenix showing top. That of Team 12, though, they just had to blink out and did Maiev, losing one of those abilities to set up. It's going to turn their attention towards the top lane, get that clear. Mid fort's going to fall. Blaze should be able to prep that bottom lane enough where we get a double fort takedown here for LFM. Water Elemental just used for damage and a little bit of zoning.
Yeah, I was the original attempt there, I think, hoping to get a pick out. Isolation used there for Dahaka. No brush stock out, and Goku is down. That's going to lead to a lot of free siege here on the bottom half, and there's that double fort we were talking about before. Figgy wasting no time, knowing 15 seconds without Dahaka. I love that right there from Figgy. That is not something I feel like we've seen from LFM too much, where you just see that level of zoning, being like, yeah, boys, you have no opportunity to contest us. Do you want to kind of maybe dabble? Look at him, just no fear here. Shouldn't have it, but Dahaka's back. He has a brush stock opportunity too.
Warden's Cage is here. There's a big combo, and there's the resets on that Fan of Knives, doing so much damage, forcing that of LFM to hop in the bunker. They're going to hop on out. Draded had his salvo interrupted, but Cure is a man on a mission here as the continued Fan of Knives absolutely slaughtered LFM there, Dreadnought.
I mean, Cure just made a highlight reel of Maev on one play alone. That was so much damage coming out from him in that fight. Able to get the last pick there onto Figgy, setting that skirmish 4-1 in favor of Team 12. And finally, see Team 12 showing signs of life here on Towers of Doom.
Just Cure right there made so much happen. That was insane damage. And furthermore, that was a lot of gems lost. LFM, I was doing the math right before that broke out. LFM was close to a turn-in, maybe had almost enough or did have enough towards the end of that. Now they're sitting on 26 with 0 turned in. And Team 12 has 47. They've got enough for the turn, and they're going to do it right now.
Team 12 just got that miracle kind of, not so much the skirmish in itself that it was a miracle, but when we were concerned about the snowball against them, and LFM had the prime opportunity. It started, right? We saw the snowball start. It was just biting off more than they can chew, and Team 12 getting the punishment. Suddenly, we're back at near even when looking at momentum of this match. Still probably slightly better for LFM, considering the fact that they do have the better wave clear for the most part. But now with Team 12, they didn't get much out of the first web weaver phase. They need to force fights and get those kills so they can get something out of this one.
It's going to be a long way. Team 12 doesn't have a lot of gems in reserve. You can see Aware playing very far back. He's being threatened by Dansky. The Blizzard's going to go down, but with this spell aura from that night camp that was timed so well by Team 12, this mid fort is all but gone. Blaze using his time, taking care of the top lane. Bottom fort likely to fall as well. Dread, they are getting the value out of this that you wanted.
Yeah, they're able to zone off. Bottom will secure the bottom fort inevitably. What do we see with the downtime? Cycle towards top, take the fort out there for free. Bottom web weaver will be last to be cleared by LFM. I don't think it's fast enough for a boss because, well, full boss build is not an option because of the level 4 taken by Hanzo, so you can't get that sneaky, level of play.
LFM, they ended up foregoing the defense on the bottom. Now they're looking for a fight. Water Elemental is out. It's putting the pressure on to Goku, but here comes Cure one more time as he's trying to get the damage in. There's one Fan of Knives. There's 2, but they've hopped in the bunker, did LFM, and they're going to escape.
Great cleanse there from Buds on to Cure to make sure that he could get that vault out of the Lurking Arm sitting down. It was very problematic for a moment. We've seen now 2 major cleanses out from Rhaegar's onto Maev's on those Lurking Arms to save the day. Eventually the defense towards the bottom lane happens, and then it's actually kind of funny. Because the LFM was so worried about the boss, they let the boss happen.
Yeah, they showed multiple people mid, and then they showed Phoenix bottom. And the minute they showed somebody mid, if it's just one oh, wait a minute, Figgy, he's tossed in. There's going to be the thunderclap, and the tether is going to bring him back in, and there's no escape for him. And now T, he's up there. Massive shove is going to save him for a moment. Let's see if Cure can make another play happen, but Goku's going to start it instead.
Yeah, great drag there from Goku after the brush talk, able to keep himself alive. Another big tether going to lead to a groundbreaker. Swabs forced to use the bunker. I don't know if he's going to make it out. Flip over, Warlord's challenge. Boss Slam not going to connect. 38 gems sit across that field there, that line. Will T kind of question if he wants to move past and get those? No, he will not. So very big setback here for LFM. Team 12, though, still have the boss looking to siege up. We'll have the 16 looking and pull back for that Dragon's Air all in. There it is.
Oh, it misses the mark, and now there's the massive shove sending them back again. The cleanse onto Cure is going to save him a little bit of distance and traveling time. Cure and team, they're going to look to make the play, but they don't have the sieging capabilities. Watch for Cure. See if he can get it in and get the tether instead. The threat alone and 16 has zoned out Team 12 enough to get a keep here 12 minutes in.
They're going to try and track down, though. Groundbreaker use. Figgy should have a Stormbolt Dwarf Toss available in the next couple seconds. There it is, but look at Cure baiting it in there with that taunt. Gets the Warden's Cage thrown down there. Lurking Arm's going to be used. Bunker drop from Swab. Salvo comes out. Draded ends up setting that 1-to-1 as Justing first to drop for Team 12. Cure goes back in, hits a 3-man tether. You're going to pull back 2, gets the fan of knives out. Dansky with the scattering arrow gets the second pick. Now Aware trying to get the kite out, but will end up having the damage. Another scattering arrow here from Dansky. The guy does not miss.
Cure could have gone out, but he's like, heck no, I'm going back in. I mean, I'm sitting there seeing him at 30, 40% health. I'm like, all right, he's got to get an escape here. He's like, nah, let's keep going. Ended up 4 takedowns to 1 there in favor of Team 12. And Cure on this Maev this game, Dreadnought, is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, he is very much, I mean, I don't want to say the only reason that they're in this game, but definitely big plays being made here by Cure. The dodge on that Stormbolt with this initiation, setting everything up so great here for Team 12. But the biggest thing is the reinitiation, right? We see him fall low. Cure's like, oh, maybe we should back out. And he's like, nah, I got this. 3-man tether, gets the pressure onto Draded. That sets up the kill eventually here. And then he's allowed to, at that point, just doesn't matter. Even set up Aware for that. Really, from beginning to end, that 3-man tether pullback was the reason they were able to win the back half of that initiation.
Hey, there's another one. Another one.
Easy there.
18 gems. They've been sitting. They've been dropping gems left and right, has LFM, and it's almost impossible. Now we're going to see Hanzo. He's going to pick up bot camp. Justin, he's going to get some help here in a moment. With 1 person down on the side of LFM, there's just no way for LFM to get a turn in. He's going to get the back-to-back turn in here, Dread, and with these camps, there's a high probability this goes from bad to worse to GG.
The pressure just piling on here towards LFM. As you said, every lane receiving massive pressure at this point in time. Look out for Dansky to set up another Dragon's Arrow once they break the front wall. They're going to be looking for Aware. They tried it last time. They're going to look for it again. They need to initiate with this type of composition to get a value out of those web weavers, and it's likely going to be, again, that distraction around this mid-keep. They just need to make sure everybody can move past to get the initiation.
You can see going in is Cure. He's scouting things out. They've had vision. They've had control. Cure
Aware, careful.
Looking for the big play. The Aware is going to be on the other side. Dansky's opened that side wall. The Aware is exposed. He's been shot. He's been fired upon. That's going to send the Aware back on his heels. But now, see these web weavers pushing forward.
Dansky's still sitting in mid, knowing he's got the Dragon's Arrow opportunity if needed. Ancestral Healing will land there. Warlord's Challenge goes down onto 1. Silence is going to be used, but already the kill there onto T. Figgy trying to make something happen. Cure ends up getting that Warden's Cage onto Aware, and Drada getting pulled back. Has to teleport out. Focus still going on towards that keep. It's Dansky trying to keep himself alive. Figgy actually using the 13's healing for so much.
He's trying to survive. Here's the more healing static. He's alive for now, getting the heal. Somehow, someway surviving. Now, not enough though, as we see Phoenix go down. Buds and team now on the retreat, but the keep stand on the side of LFM. Figgy somehow still alive here, Dreadnought.
They're able to keep this up. Aware trying to get the cut out. 3-man jet propulsion from Swabs. He's going in trying to get that damage, but the flip back Justing with the Groundbreaker, able to stop the advance. Catapult is on top, but T has now spawned. He'll be able to deal with that. Look at that. Team 12, they're trying to get the bait. Will Cure go back in? Even if you stick near that upper wall, you know Cure has the opportunity to follow up over the wall. Not going to do so.
Somehow, both of those keeps stood in mid-bot. They're low, but there's nowhere near a turn-in for Team 12. LFM has fought their way back. The boss is up. Obviously, that's a win condition for Team 12 at this point, but LFM hanging tough, and I really don't know how. And the fact that Figgy survived that last team fight.
Yeah, so that was a lot of it. Team 12 got cocky, and it turns out a 4-man double W from Murden multiple times with healing static means he heals himself for nearly 100% of his HP within one fight. He's not going to be able to do that here. Nice Dragon's Arrow getting thrown out as well, along with that isolation from Goku. Second to drop there is going to be Stukov. T trying to kite away. Not going to be able to make it out. Draded with no teleport either. 4 for nothing. Swabs the last man, and that is now a full ace. Clean pick there onto Figgy with 4 behind it. And now Team 12, they waste no time.
LFM, they got desperate. They realized 20 was close for Team 12. They were down quite a bit. Nowhere near a turn-in. Now it will be Team 12 taking this game number 3, setting them up for a final victory perhaps here as they go up 2-1 in this series. And Team 12, 19 kills to 6 when we look at that, but the play from Maev on Cure, the rest of the team obviously a big part of it, especially Goku at the end there. But that Maiev play was terrifying.
Oh, it was. It was. You know, I said yesterday I was giving a lot of praise towards Arthlon on the Maiev and saying that, you know, it feels like few and far between are the Maevs properly using that shadow in the same manner, especially on retreat. I have to take that back. Cure, he's definitely sitting right at the same level. Maybe not as, you know, maybe flashy here and there, but he's still some big plays for the squad. I wouldn't be surprised if he's nearing the top of those damage charts. The fact that you're on Tomb of the Spider Queen and your Maiev has near the same damage of your Hanzo.
And he didn't die. I mean, obviously that one cleanse there in the middle of that lurking arm was pretty clutch, but obviously, you know, a lot of teamwork there, a lot of coordination. LFM actually got off to a pretty hot start in that game. They got the first few kills. They got the wall down in the mid lane. But after they got that first turn in, they started staggering deaths a little bit, dropping gems left and right, and could never really find an opportunity through the objective to get back in the game because the staggered deaths just made it very difficult, and then they had to fight their way back. They fought valiantly, especially around that defense of that web weaver, but they obviously got desperate there at the end and lost the last one that mattered.
Got to be raising the question now.